Alan Barnes and the original 70s soundtrack 96.5 CTG. I have on the line Mr. Harry Wayne Casey, also known as the founder, lead singer, and principal songwriter of Casey and the Sunshine Band. Did I get that right?
Yep.
How you
How you
doing?
doing?
How are you? Great to hear from you.
Great. Great.
Why don't you share a little bit about what you've got going on in your world right now?
Well, we're just touring. We tour all year long, and off and on throughout the year. And that's what I love doing. And that's about what I do.
I'd seen in it, and I'll take people through the history. Obviously, this is a '70s show, and people are very, very familiar with Casey and the Sunshine Band. As a matter of fact, we use the very beginning snippet of "Get Down Tonight" as sort of our show intro that leads into the whole bumper that we do going into it. But just so people know the history of Casey and the Sunshine Band, you guys started, gosh, way back in like 1973. Is that correct?
Exactly.
And I think another little unknown fact is the first record I think actually did better in Europe, and it was actually your second album that Get Down Tonight sort of exploded off of and started the whole
Right.
odyssey.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Actually, it started over in Europe first, and then came over here.
and you and Richard Finch, I believe, were doing some production work together. And when I had learned that you guys were involved with George McRae's "Rock Your Baby,"
Right.
the guitar intro there, that I think it was Jerome Smith that did that.
Yeah.
Um, it was very signature, and I think I had read, and it's the same thing with those opening licks at the beginning of "Get Down Tonight." Is it true that he played the licks, but then you guys doubled the tape speed to get that super high pitch?
No, we just slowed the track down. For Get Down Tonight,
Okay,
and he played it at a slower speed.
okay, and that's what actually increased the frequency of the, because it's like
Right.
super.
Right.
Yeah, it's I think for years that's given cover bands fits on that
Yeah.
how to reproduce
Well,
that
it can be
lick.
played on a keyboard too, but it definitely played with a guitar.
Yeah, and it's fantastic sounding stuff. I think the thing too that always strikes me, and that I try to reinforce to, especially some of our younger listeners that like current dance music, is like you guys did it live. I mean, there's no pitch correction, there's no auto tune, there's no samplers. I mean, you
It's all live.
yeah, you guys, I mean, had a fantastic band. I mean, forget about the commercial success, just the tightness of the band, the bass, the drums, everything was a lock. And you guys recreated that extremely well on stage, in addition to choreography and trying to manage all that other stuff, too. It's phenomenal.
Right. I mean, it's we still pretty much, even though it's not the original band up on the stage, we still keep it pretty close to what it was. You know.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And
One of the first singles I bought was, I think it was, correct me if I'm 75, 76. It was That's the Way I Like It.
Wow.
Still one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, that was
I,
a great song. Still is a great song.
Yeah, there's almost nothing off. Even we play a lot of side cuts. Our radio station is formatted with its album oriented, and we pride ourselves on doing some deeper tracks, not just the obvious hits. And
Right.
there's almost never a time when we go into like some of the side streets of your material that people don't just go, wow, they'll either know right away who it was, or like, wow, I'd never heard that. And it's like, there's so many songs on there that could have been hits as well. It was just, I
Yeah,
mean,
there's some great stuff on those records.
and it's not just the playing of the band there, and don't sell your don't be overly modest here, but I want to take you down the road of why those songs are so great. And obviously you were, at least if not the songwriter, the co-writer on most of those tracks. Is that correct?
I was the main writer. Yes.
And because of that, I think just a few weeks ago you got nominated to the Songwriters Hall of Fame?
We have been. Yes.
So how does that work?
I don't know. We're nominated. I mean, we're up against George Michael, Sly and the Family Stone. I mean, we're up against like 8 other, great songwriters. Steven Tyler,
Wow.
George Michael, Sly and the Family Stone, a couple guys from Doobie Brothers, and the members of the Hall of Fame have to select 2 people.
Okay.
Of course, anybody can vote, but it's $50 to go sign up to cast your vote. But
Okay, yeah, and I'm looking at it too. If the listeners want to join the Songwriters Hall of Fame and have a vote, they have to register before November 17th, is what I'm seeing
correct,
here.
correct.
So that's going to be interesting.
It will be interesting.
and unlike the Oscars, I'm just going to guess that you take the nomination for what it's worth and sit back and just wait and see what happens. There's not like this whole publicity machine that tries to lobby the Academy to vote for you.
No, no.
So that actually probably makes that's going to make it a lot more satisfying if it does come through. That it's it's real. It's more.
I mean, even the Academy. I mean, the Grammy. Like, I don't remember the of Naris, and even the Grammys. I mean, nobody's really lobbying you. You know, to the only thing I think that's different with the Academy Awards and stuff is they do send out copies of the movies for people to to familiarize themselves with during the voting period.
Right.
But the Grammys never has ever done anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. Very true.
So it's pretty much straight up from whatever the voting members decide.
Did you
And I
guys?
hope they decide that that our stuff is legitimate enough.
I mean, it absolutely is. We this radio show.
Those are other great songwriters, but my music has been used in like over 300 movies and commercials. It's still on television and commercials.
It is. Yeah, and you're still getting
every sports event and sports. So I hope that they look at the way the songs have lasted and what the way the people still embrace those songs.
It stands up, and this show started in 1995, and we just caught the very, very beginning of people in that 20-year nostalgia wave finally getting past the 70s hangover and getting past the denial and getting ready to embrace the music again. And of course, disco always became the demon, when disco came along.
Well, our music's not really disco. I mean, we created the sound that became disco or whatever they call it. I mean, right now, dance music is hotter than ever. Every record on the radio is dance music. So, I mean, even our show, a lot of people come to our show, they're like, wow, we didn't expect that, because there's a lot of different things, mixed into my show. Pop, rock, dance, R&B. There's just a lot of things going on in the show, and a lot of people are usually surprised. They come out not expecting what they got, and, it's a great show.
Oh, I bet it is. I think I didn't get a chance to see it, but nearby our market is Ocean City, Maryland, and they have the Sunfest there, and I think you've done that at least once, if not more than once.
Yep, we
have. And the thing people always come away with is wow, taking a second listen to those songs and then hearing them done live. I think the power comes through even more than, and it's held up. As you mentioned, the movies still, that whole 70s era, I think, is still probably the strongest as far as being used on movie soundtracks.
Right.
And again, it got short shrift for years. People just continually down the 70s. But and just from a production standpoint, I have my own studio, so I know how hard it is to capture those sounds even with the modern tools. But I mean, you guys were working with tape, and again, no tricks, no computers, no software plugins. I mean, you guys had racks of equipment. And what were you guys doing? Probably 24 track then, maybe?
24, yeah.
So, and that sounds like a lot to people, but when you're eating up 8 to 10 tracks right off the get-go, just doing the drums and percussion, and then you've got a horn section that you're trying to get in there, you find that you start bouncing a lot of things to certain tracks, and you have to make production decisions early on. But just the sound of what you guys do, I mean, you can put any of your records today, sound-wise, against anything modern, and it just keeps up. Same thing with the Bee Gees too. Just the sound of those records, they don't sound at all dated. And that's a credit to you too, because correct me if I'm wrong. You and Richard produced the stuff as well, correct?
Correct.
Awesome, fantastic. You guys have a gig coming up, I think, November 19th.
The 19th, yeah.
And where is that, so the listeners will know?
Morgantown. What's in Morgantown?
West Virginia.
Virginia, yeah.
And I think, I'm checking my list, we're carried live on the internet, and we're also regional here, but we have something on Facebook. We've got about nearly 1,000 members, and we call it the Bell Bottom Radio Network, and we sort of track where our active listeners are, and they, of course, they Facebook us requests, and I'm just looking at West Virginia here to see what cities we're on. We're on in Charleston, Berkeley Springs, Morgantown, there you go, Harpers Ferry,
Right.
and Richwood, West Virginia. So all you listeners out there in Morgantown or even the surrounding areas, can you tell us the name of the venue do you know the show time? Or?
You caught me off guard here. I'm not like by any of that
Well, I
information.
tell you what,
You can go on the website. I'm sure it's there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'll save you by I'll click on the show's link, and it is at the Festival of Trees, which is at the Waterfront Place Ballroom, which sounds like it's going to be awesome. Festival of Trees
Yeah.
2010. There aren't any show times on here, I don't think, but again, that date is 11/19/2010. Tickets are available through Ticketmaster, and the artist number, if you're too lazy to search, is 769791. So I think all of our listeners would be really, really looking forward to it. And I got to tell you, it's absolutely incredible to have you on the show. You are a
Thank
legend.
you.
Really enjoyed the commercial that you did. I can't remember was an insurance company, right? Or an
Yeah, it was
investment?
Sun Life.
It was Sun Life. That's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I love seeing that because it's refreshing to see the humility that you bring. That's your persona and the sense of humor that you sort of carry forth. I've seen you on several talk shows as well, and it always comes across as like, here's a guy who has every reason to be one of the most arrogant people on the face of the planet, and ruled that planet for many years, and it's just a regular guy. Awesome.
Yep. Absolutely.
Do you have new projects beyond the touring? Are you doing anything recording wise or?
No, not really. I mean, right now I'm doing a co-writing for a friend of mine. Asked me to do some lyrics for a new artist he has, and we'll see where that goes. I mean, I haven't really done anything, so maybe this will get me, back into the groove of things and, doing something.
Well, I tell you, a popular avenue right now.
I'm so relaxed right now, and I just enjoy going out and doing the shows. And,
Sure.
I mean, I've been there, I've done everything pretty much, so I don't know.
I tell you, it's easier than ever right now. Like I said, just the home studio that I've built, the capability of the sound quality that you can get at home. And a lot of guys I know, they're doing that very same thing. I just talked to Merrill Osmond about 3 weeks ago, and
Yeah.
he just did a project that was for charity, but it was basically done in Utah in small home PC-based Pro Tools type studios. And these days, it's easier than ever to press it yourself, take it to disc
Right.
makers, distribute it yourself, throw it on iTunes. Um,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's like it's easier than ever to get your product out, but it's like harder than ever to get it into people's ears because of there's almost too many ways to get music now.
Right.
It's not just about going to your local record store and seeing the top 20 there. There's all
No,
these
you can't even
avenues.
see. There's no local record store anymore.
Do you hate that? I hate that.
Yeah, I do.
As a music fan, I mean, I want to
But I
hold
became
something.
guilty of it too. I started buying stuff online and ordering it through CD Now instead of going to the store. So I put it out of business.
Well, yeah, and another thing too is, and the shame of it is, at least you're still buying CDs, I gather, and you're not doing the downloads yet, are you?
Like from iTunes. Yeah, I mean sometimes I
Some,
buy
yeah.
them. I mean I was buying them and then now I download it.
Yeah, and I like the convenience of that, but in my ear, I can still hear the difference between like an MP3 and a full audiophile CD. And
Yeah.
the other thing that bothers me, and I'll just ask you this, and we don't have to get too into detail, but the soapbox I always get on with people and downloading music that they're not paying for. Let's just pretend that Casey and the Sunshine Band's career ended in 1985, and you guys had nothing to live off of but your prior, your royalties and your residuals. People get the idea that you sold 150 million records, let's just say, I don't even know what the number is, and that you're fat for life, and that you're a super multi-billionaire, and you're a rich rock star, and that makes it okay to rip you off and not pay for the music. But I mean, you're out there doing shows, so I mean, you still have to generate some income, I would imagine.
Well, I mean that is our income. I mean I do the shows because I love doing them, but the other is our income.
Sure.
It'll be interesting to see the effect, with stores closing and everything, because, even though iTunes is great, people don't. It's like when you go to a record store, you used to walk by the bin and you'd see like, oh wow, let me get that album, So you don't have that happening anymore.
Just based on the graphics. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and you can't hold it anymore, but it just frustrates me. People have this idea that, that all these rich rock stars, and with your career, it's probably not even as exaggerated as somebody that maybe had one big record, and they watch Cribs and everything on MTV, and they see these rappers popping Cristal and living these. What they don't realize is these guys are living off of credit. Check back in with them 5 years from now, and they've lost it all because they're living off of
Yeah,
record
it may
company
not be.
advances.
I feel sorry for those when I watch those shows.
Yeah, and they just think that it's okay to get this music for free, and I'm like, look, if you support somebody and you love their music, you really need to buy it because they're not some rich fat cat. They're out there trying to make a living just like everybody else.
No, it is a living song.
Well, is it Case? Do you like to be called Harry better or KC? Is either one okay or?
Yeah, I mean, different people call me different names, so.
And we've been listening to KC right here from KC and the Sunshine Band. Check him out on 1119 in Morgantown, West Virginia. Thank you so much, KC.
You're welcome, guy.